How are you? Today is April the 3rd, and that means this is blog number 93. That's correct. Yesterday, I'm sorry to say, but whenever I posted it on YouTube, I posted blog number 93, and it was incorrect. It's actually blog number 93 today. So I hope it'll let me post because I tried to correct it, and well, maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But anyway, we'll hope we're going to post it today under 93. Alrighty, that being said, this is bell routine again. We're on 4. And now that you understand completely the situation of autonomic hyperdysreflexia, well, now then, we can go ahead and change these bags out. Now, the one that's there on the bed in the coil, that hose, go ahead and lift that up in the air and let the pee run down, or the urine run down. Actually, it's Mayan, not urine, but that's okay. Let it run down out of that hose down into the bag. All right. Now, you're probably going to have to lay it down and let it do it again until we get everything out of the hose. And you will note that the level in the hose going back down into my belly, you'll note that that level drops back into my belly. So when that occurs, what I'm going to have you do is there is the wider part, wider, not to be confused with whiter, but the wider part of the hose, the catheter. It's a suprapubic Foley catheter. Anyway, it's got a wider part and more thicker, and then it's got a narrower part. What I want you to do is I'm going to have you kink that hose right there at the the thicker part and the thin part. We kink it right there, and I want you to bend that over, and I want you to hold. I want you to grab the top of it with your right hand. I want where the two folds come all the way down. I want you to grab those tips, grab both of those tips together, and stick the corner part where it's bent in the palm of your hand, so that you can get a hold of the place where the bag hose goes into the tip of the straw, so that you can get a hold of that. Pinch that with your thumb and index finger. Now, take your right hand and place it on the hose where the bag is. Now keep your fingers pinched right at the tip of that hard spot in the hose. And now take your right thumb, your right hand, grab a hold of the hose with your 3 fingers and wrap them around the, is that right? Yeah, your 3 fingers, wrap them around the hose and use your thumb. Actually, you don't need the 3 fingers, 4 fingers. Wrap 4 fingers around that. And then I want you to, nope, 3 fingers, that's better. Go ahead and push on the little part of rubber that is at the end of the hose. Push up against that with your thumb and index finger while you are pulling away from that hose, away from the catheter end with your 3 fingers that are wrapped around the hose. That way you'll spread it apart and it'll come off of there like Chinese finger locks. Now, Chinese finger locks are something that you used to go to the carnivals for. Now, a carnival, there's a discussion in itself. A carnival is like where you used to go and you'd play games, and it didn't have all kinds of rides. And the games that you played were usually in a booth, and there were a bunch of little give-me prizes. And you got back scratchers, and you got bouncing frogs, and you got punching balloons, and you got chatter teeth, all kinds of different small things, trinkets and stuff to play with, rings and all kinds of stuff like that, packets of bubble gum. You name it, they had it. Anyway, what they did have was a pair of Chinese finger locks. Now, usually they were made out of some sort of a not bamboo, but a material like that. Not cloth, but something heavier than cloth. I think it was more like wheat, um, or maybe corn husks, something of that nature. Anyway, whatever it was made out of, you stuck your fingers in the two sides, and it was weaved. It was weaved together, so you stuck your two fingers in the ends, and the more you pulled apart, the harder it was to get off. You couldn't pull it straight off. What you would have to do is you would have to push your two fingers together towards the middle, and then you'd have to take your thumb and your middle finger and put them at the corners of the top edge of the finger lock, and then pull your index finger out, and that would release the weave. Whenever you pushed your fingers towards each other, that would relax the weave in it, and then you could remove your finger. So that's a Chinese finger locks, and that's basically how we're getting this hose off of there. Now, so long as you keep your hand pinched, you can take this hose that I'd blowed on, and we made sure that it was emptied and everything. Actually, I didn't tell you how to make sure it was empty, but all that. After we pop this hose in there, I will tell you about that. Basically, what you want to do right now is just slip the hose that I just blowed up, the bag that I just blowed up, stick that hose in there towards to where your fingers are pinched. And now you can let go of your pinch, and the urine should be flowing out of my belly and into that bag. Now, where I had dropped off on the other bag was after I have blown it up and made sure that the seal is open, the flap is open, then I'll have you take the little cap off the bottom of the bag, flip down the blue lever, or up, whatever, flip the blue lever, and then let the air out of it, pulling on adjacent corners, opposite corners, the top left and the bottom right, and the bottom left and the top right. That way you can get the air let out of it, and then you can flip the lever back up and put the cap back on. And then we'd be doing the attaching. Okay, now that it's attached, go ahead and set the head of the bed up for a moment. And once we get that set up, you can go ahead and grab that bag off the hooks down below, the bedside bag. And I want you to take that on into the bathroom and open the toilet lids, both of the lids. On account, that bag is heavy, and if you use only one lid, it will pull the lids shut, and it'll close the bag, and the bag will fall in, or it'll close the toilet, and the bag will fall in the toilet, and it'll get all wet, and then we don't need that. So, now that you got it hanging over both lids, take the hose there and just drape it up into the sink. Now, what I need you to do now is there's two pinchy green things on the sides there. Just go ahead and squeeze them a little bit and pull down so that the tip of the hose comes out. The tip of the drain hose comes out of the little bubble and is now hanging down into the toilet. Now you'll notice this silver clamp. If you take your right hand, from the top of the clamp and you put it right down near the end of the clamp, the bottom edge of the clamp, and you apply slight pressure, pinching the clamp, and then just push down a little bit towards the tip of the hose, the end of the hose. If you push down just a little bit towards the end of the hose with that little metal tab that's still sticking up there, and then release the pinch, it will come open, and that way you can drain that bag into the toilet. Now, while that bag is draining into the toilet, what I want you to do is take and go ahead and turn your water on as hot as you can get it. Now, while that's heating up, we're going to practice getting the hose in the right position. So if you take your right hand and you slide it down the hose about a foot, you'll see the curve of the hose where it curves. Bring your right hand down to that curve, and then take the tip of that hose and stick it right up inside the faucet. Now, you will notice that there's water running down the inside of the hose and down the outside of the hose, but your hand is not getting hit by the water. So that way, as it gets hot, it won't be burning your hands. And you can take your left hand and grab about middle ways from where your right hand is towards the bag. You can take that and lift up your left hand just a little bit, and you'll notice that the bag flows faster. Okay, now that the bag is empty into the toilet bowl, go ahead and flush that so that, and once that's flushed, go ahead and clamp the silver clamp back together. Now this time all you need to do is pinch those two tabs, and the little silver tabby will snap automatically because we didn't put too much pressure on it. If you put too much pressure on it, it will bend it open too far, and then it won't clamp by itself, and we have to get tools to bend it back so it's got a flat bend in it. So anyway, that being said, here we go. We're going to, after you've clamped that little silver clamp back up, what I need you to do now is now your water should be good and hot. So go ahead and stick the end of that, or grab your hose down about a foot or half foot, whatever. You'll see the curve in the hose. Grab your hose there and you'll curve it up towards the faucet and shove it up in the faucet and just raise up a little bit with your right hand. And you'll notice the water is going into the bag, but if you lift up in the middle of the hose with your left hand, it'll go in much faster. And you're going to fill it up to 750 to 1,000 cc's, anywhere in between there. Alrighty. Now that that's done, you can go ahead and turn that hot water off and pick up the hose all the way up in the air with your right hand. Now take your right hand, bring it down with the hose still in it, and grab the top of the bag right at the top of the toilet seat, and go ahead and take the bag off the toilet seats. Now take your left hand and grab the bottom of the bag, and you're going to shake it back and forth, and you're going to turn it upside down, but just barely, because we don't want to fill that hose up with water. Just that little plastic bubble up there, you want to make sure that that bubble gets rinsed out too. All right, now that you've shook it all around, make sure you got it up into all the corners and up into the plastic bubble. Go ahead and hang it back onto the toilet lids. Now, once it's hung back on the toilet lids, go ahead and lift your hand up in the air again, so your right hand with the tip of the hose, so that it will drain that water out of the hose back into the bag. Now, again, we're going to push open that little tab, pinch the silver, push down on the little tabby part, and then release your pinch and drain the bag so that it will empty. Now that while it's emptying, if you reach back right there behind the toilet lids onto the back of the toilet, you'll see a little basket there that's got alcohol preps in it. So what I need you to do is open one of them alcohol preps and unfold it in half there, and be very careful because they have a tendency to tear. All right, now that you've unfolded it in half, go ahead and wipe the tip of the hose off that you're holding in your hand. Wipe the tip of the hose off, and then take the alcohol prep and drape it over the top of the hose. And you can grab that with your left hand, the tip of it, or the two edges of the alcohol prep, you can grab those with your left hand, and grab that cap that's on the sink that you took off of my leg bag, and you can place it on the top of the bed bag. Did you catch that, bed bag? All right, well, it was there, and I caught it, so don't make fun of me if I'm bubbing. All right, then. Anyway, now that you've done that, go ahead and go ahead and clamp your clip shut and put the green pieces back up inside the little bubble. Take the two hooks off of the toilet lid, and see that big silver bar there where you grab the leg bag off of? Okay, you're going to go a little bit further towards the Hoyer lift, and you're going to hang that bag on the rail. Now, that being said, lift your right hand way up in the air. Now you see the natural loop of that hose, how it's kind of hanging down. All right, take that and just hang it behind the bar, and then with your right the where the hose is still bent at the top on your right hand side. After you've dropped the big loop down, bring that part of the hose in your right hand forward and hang it on this side of the bar. That way it'll hang there, it'll be out of the way, and it won't be dragging on the floor. Okay. And you'll notice there is a green chuck there, so you can put it there. And or maybe I was laying on the chuck. Either way, you'll see what's going on when you're here and it's visible. Hey, you know what? That there is 15 minutes. And so, this is Shenandoah Briscoe saying hello and how are you? You know, God loves you, and so do I. So be blessed, and we'll check you tomorrow, alrighty? Please tune in because we don't want to miss a thing.